Sarah, it is lovely to finally speak to you on Handpan Voices. How has your day been, apart from waiting for me for an hour, which I apologise for?
It's okay. It's okay. It's been a good day. It's a bit drizzly, but that means that the temperatures are cooler, and
Uh-huh.
I'm all for that. So yeah, it's been a nice day, a nice leisurely Sunday.
Have you been playing any music today or making any music?
I did take that little bit of an extra pause to do some tippy taps, which was fun, and
Tippy
uh,
taps.
tippy taps. Yeah,
Yeah.
technical term. Yeah. So
I call it bing bonging.
Bing
Bing
bong. Oh
bing
yeah.
bong. Yeah.
Yep. Bing bong and tippy taps.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do they have names, Sarah, or was that just me?
Oh man.
Yeah? One of
Not
them or two
yet.
of them? Not yet. Well, don't
Not
worry. It's a
yet.
bit. I think it's a bit weird of me for calling
No.
my names, but here we
No, I
go.
mean if you were like this one's name is Clarice and then people who get that one, they'll get it. Um yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Scary movie. Anthony
Of course.
Hopkins. Yeah.
Silence of
Oh
the
yeah.
Lambs, right?
Yep. Yep, you got it. Yep.
Yeah. What a wonderful film. It's quite old as well now. I guess
Uh,
that's the age we are. Right? We're not getting any younger, are we?
Not a spring chicken anymore. My body tells me regularly. Thanks, body. I love you.
When you were a spring chicken, a tiny little girl running
Yeah.
around at the age of 4,
Yeah.
you got a violin. Tell me
Yeah.
that
Well,
story. Like, how did that come around? Did you get given a violin? Did you fall in love with it? What happens at 4-year-old Sarah with a violin?
well, 4-year-old Sarah was presented music via mom. And so all of us grew up playing music. And I don't know if I picked the violin versus the piano, but those were the two options that kind of grew up in our household. And it wasn't the violin yet. It was actually a Cracker Jack box that was wrapped in brown paper, packaging paper, and it had, a wooden neck, and it had all of
Wow.
the drawings of what the violin. I don't have my violin out right now. What the violin looks like, and
Uh-huh.
so you worked on your foot positioning and how you hold the instrument and things like that, and when you graduated, you got to open the violin and receive your first real violin. I'm
I
a real
see.
violin now, and
I see. Did you
yeah, it was.
always know? Do you think, well, looking back, you were probably told this, but did you know there was a real violin waiting for you once you'd graduated, or did you not know that at the time?
I feel like I had to have known. I mean,
Yeah.
like it was cool to because we would get you'd get your little Cracker Jack violin,
Yeah.
and then she would outline your feet on a piece of like large packaging paper so
Yeah.
that you could take home, this is how your foot positioning goes, so you could take that home, you could bring it back, and okay, let's see if you did it right. And so yeah, I mean,
Gosh.
I feel like I had to have known that one day,
What's
a
the
couple
first
months
song?
later.
What's the first song that you remember learning and playing on the violin?
Oh man.
It probably
I
gives you
mean,
nightmares now, but what was the first one?
probably Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or something like
Ah,
that.
yeah. Yeah.
But I fell into the category of similar to Colin. Is that correct?
Uh-huh.
It's like similar to Colin. Music theory. I know it's important, and what I learned from looking back during that timeline is that I could feel the music. I
Yeah.
could feel the essence of the music. I could feel the loudness of a crescendo and
Yeah.
the dissipation of a decrescendo, and in all the things that were going on in my life growing up, it was really just having that stability of weekly private lessons, weekly group lessons, and having that as like a grounding force for creativity. So even though it was technically my first creative outlet, I didn't really see it like that because it was just what I did. It was just what I did.
Did you have a tough time when you were younger?
Was growing up tough. Um,
I wanted to answer with a little more clarity because it feels important. Because yes, all of our life journeys are a little different, and it's important. It's important to name with more clarity. So there were aspects of my childhood that were as fabulous could be. We traveled. We, did a lot of things. We played sports, we played music and all that jazz. And, our parents were divorced. And that, how that came to be, created a lot of ripple effects in our family dynamic. And so part of childhood was difficult navigating emotional space, not just as a child growing up, but also in the family dynamics. Our mother was from the Philippines, is from the Philippines, and living in rural southern Illinois, we did live in a college town, which was really great growing up in, but we were also surrounded by a lot of racism, and so there were aspects of that experience which were difficult to palate and difficult to witness and difficult to understand, but it was the fractured family dynamic that was a lot to unpack as a child. So yeah, just wanted to share that because we all have different life experiences that shape who we are, and how we navigate that space as we get older becomes very important. Yeah.
We all go through things. And
Yeah,
so
sure.
it was just really nice to have that outlet, available, even though I didn't totally understand it. But the way, one of the reasons why we love the handpan is it rests on your lap sometimes and you get to feel that vibration, and to feel the vibration of a violin right at your heart.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, whoa. And and I didn't know how easy or difficult it was to play a violin because it's just what I did. And because theory didn't really take a good hold,
Yep.
I tried playing in college, and that lasted for about a month until I was like, I really can't sight read, and this is important for orchestra.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it was like I just put it down and would pick it up every once in a while, and then when I met the handpan in 2016, then it was like, okay, well, I know that this is a yes, but I don't know what kind to get because there's so many options. And so it's like, people at gatherings would say, "Oh, do you play any other instruments?" And I would say, "I used to play the violin. I used to play the violin."
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, because it was something that I would just like infrequently pick up, and then the muscle memory would come back, and
Uh-huh.
which was really quite lovely. But yeah, and in that moment, I was like, oh, maybe I hear what they're saying. Maybe I will pick it up again and see what happens. And I went through this 1 or 2 month cycle of like, okay, if I pick it up and play classical music, I'm going to put it back down because that's not what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And then one day I picked it up, took it out of its case, laid on the ground, and just made sounds. And I was like, that's what we need. I don't know where we're going with this, but that's what we need.
2016, you found the handpan.
It found
How?
me.
Well, tell me that story because that's always an interesting story to ask a player.
I I really love my discovery story because I literally had to be unplugged from everyday life and be placed in the middle of nowhere without any distractions in order to finally actually hear it and see it. At one point, I'm on a road trip, and my friend and I, photography friend and I, were driving through Death Valley.
Right.
So that becomes one pin drop in the timeline.
Yep.
Obviously, music is already there, and then hot springs. Believe it or
Yep.
not, hot springs are a pin drop of intrigue. And so in 2016, a month prior to discovering the handpan, I happened to be, a friend invites me to the desert, to Death Valley. Okay, I've been there
Wow.
before. I want to go back.
Yep.
They say hot springs. I say, oh, I love hot springs. They say road trip. I say, oh, I love road trips. And
Sounds
and then
great.
they said this one thing that I had never heard of before. They said superbloom, and I said, ooh, what's that? That sounds cool. Flowers? I love flowers. And
Yeah.
and so I'm like, yeah, like, and and a super bloom was occurring in Death Valley, and you know what a super bloom is just the right weather conditions for flowers to bloom in great abundance. And prior to global warming,
Yeah.
it would truly happen infrequently. And so being able to see what that looked like, and the irony is that, so if you close your eyes and you envision like this bounty of flowers,
I'm doing it.
it's like you're in a field in the meadows, and the woman from Sound of Music is singing, and
Julia.
yeah, Julie, and like it's bouquets of flowers everywhere. It in Death Valley, it's subtle. It is
Yeah.
subtle,
Yeah.
and there's something about the subtlety of floral abundance in the desert,
Yeah.
like that is special in its own unique way. And so I have this experience, and then the
Nice.
next and then the next month I happen to be coming back, and so I make a trip, and all of a sudden I'm with that friend. We're having a campfire right outside her door, and some of the locals come over, and they want to play music, and so they're jamming on a guitar. I know what a guitar looks like. They're jamming on drums. I know what those look like. And then all of a sudden, I hear these interactive wind chime like
Yeah.
vibes,
Yeah.
and I was immediately, whoa, what is that? and and yeah, the person was kind enough to let me play them with him. And I was just like, I don't know what this is, but I think it's going to be with me for the rest of my life. And
Wow. Straight away. Just
yeah,
hooked,
yeah,
right?
yeah, straight away.
Are you still in communication with that person? Or was that just part of that moment
Part of
of your
that
history?
moment,
Yeah.
part of that moment. Sometimes we're placeholders, and
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
sometimes, yeah.
And how long after that till you bought one or found one or owned one and said, "Oh, here it is"? How long
It
did it
was
take?
like, oh, it was like 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
Gosh.
like there were. So
Gosh.
I was still living in Colorado at the time. I had no idea what tuning. I had no, the normal things that we go through, the
Yeah.
material, the maker, da da da, the scale, and even more so, it was being able to value myself enough to put a monetary value on something that I perceived was okay for me to give
Yeah.
myself. And
Sure.
so, and when you look at the timeline of handpan players and musicians, historically men, more women come into the fold,
Yeah.
different materials, et cetera, et cetera. If you don't have an example of someone playing the way that you might, then how do you know if that's the kind of instrument you want?
Sure. I get
It's
it.
it's
Yeah.
it's hard it's hard to place. And by that point, I had been to enough gatherings. I had met enough people. I had vocalized enough times with the instrument. But it was in 2021 in Colorado where a friend, like we were at a handpan meetup, handpan event in Colorado Springs. Josh Keegan of Arcana, and
Yeah.
he was like, "Oh, try this one." and I played it. I tucked away in a room, and my voice immediately, there was like no question about it wanting to
Lovely.
play, it wanting to sing, and like a song came out right then and there,
Nice.
and then I finally was like, oh, there's my light bulb. Okay, I get it. Like if my voice isn't interested in singing, because like for me that's the connective point. Like if my
Okay.
voice doesn't want to sing, then it's not a priority.
Tell me about your voice. Tell me about how your relationship with your singing voice has it always been there? Have you had to nurture it? I mean, tell me about singing and what it means as your one of your most personal instruments, isn't it?
I always loved singing,
Okay.
obviously. But there were a couple moments in grade school where like a fear just had such a steep presence in my life.
Yeah.
And so the handpan has really been the biggest catalyst for meeting fear and moving with it,
Right.
to share. And so, part of that fear was because of the stories I tell myself. Part of that fear is, comparison,
Yeah.
and how we bottle ourselves up. Um,
Yeah.
I was too scared to join choir. I
Okay.
always wanted to be a theater kid, but I was too scared. I was too nervous, too fearful, and also at the time in grade school, my grade school teacher was like, "You should join choir." But I had this moment of like this act of solidarity where she had scolded my classmates, and from that moment, like fifth grade, I was like, I'm never going to do anything Miss Piper says, even though she knew something I didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then by the time I got to high school, the pond gets bigger,
Yeah.
and there are more fish, and all the comparisons started coming out, and just I wasn't enough at the time,
Oh, yeah.
and so yeah, the handpan became this catalyst to really hold space, because I mean, because the voice is such an intimate instrument, like the fact that we breathe every day, but like, are you really paying attention to your breath? Do you know when you're anxious? Can you pause when you're anxious or mad or hungry or any of these things? And so, to be able to really hold space for something that is both fragile and precious, and give it space to be heard, that has informed my approach, because yeah, I know that there's a million techniques with the instrument, with the handpan, but it's really, let's play some chords, and let the voice frolic. So
You have a special voice, Sarah. Um, I haven't heard you sing in real life. I've obviously heard you perform online. I've
mhm.
heard you sing with Amy. I've heard you sing at concerts. I've seen you perform on your own. Maybe I'm influenced by what you also post on your socials, but you honestly, it feels like your ancestors are on your shoulders when you sing. It feels like there's more than just one person there. To me, I can't really describe it. I've never said that about anybody, and it's as if you have all of your ancestry behind you when you sing. I don't know why I think that. It's as if you're channeling them somehow. I don't know, but it's something very powerful and very strong about the way that you have this bring this sound out of you. it's angelic, but it's also very strong and powerful as well. And I've noted that. I've always wanted to tell you that.
I I appreciate it, and I'm not crying, but I am.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I can hear it. So, I mean, you can take a moment if you want to compose yourself, but I would love to hear about your ancestry and some of these people, some of the places that your family is from, and where who these ancestors are and where they come from. Tell me a bit more about that,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all. It's fascinating. It's like, I mean, we have the direct lineages, like we all have direct lineage that we can trace to a certain point. And then, and so with that side of things, my dad's a European blend.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I
Aren't
think,
we all over here? Yeah,
yeah, so like I'm pretty sure we're like British German type
yeah.
of stuff going on, which is
Uh
kind of
huh.
fun because I definitely feel like there are Celtic connections that kind of come through sometimes.
Sure. Yeah.
And then my mom is Filipino, but even within her lineage, our lineage, my lineage,
Yeah.
there's a connection to Chinese as well. And so, there's just this,
Yeah, I can see
island
that.
island culture is such a unique thing because you get to appreciate the sea in
Yeah.
ways that, the vastness of the United States, like you'll never understand how precious the sea is
Yeah.
if you only see it when you go on vacation. But if your abundance is literally limited because you are surrounded
Yeah.
or, accessible because of that, as well as the land that you do have available, you're able to appreciate both. And so within the Filipino culture, and I'm, you know, I am, I guess I'm technically first gen on my mom's side. And growing up, there's three of us, and we weren't taught how to speak the language. And so there's a little bit of a cultural gap in that regard. So I know what I know, and I know that there's a lot that I don't know. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, so within the Filipino culture, there are healers, shaman types called babaylans.
Uh huh.
And when I was at Pantasia a couple years ago, a woman, we were just having a nice sit down, and it was the first time I had been near another Filipino, like at a handpan gathering.
Yeah.
And we were just,
Special.
yeah, it was really, really special. And, she said to me, "You're a modern day Babaylan." And ooh, even as I say that, it gives me chills.
You
And
are, I think.
I think I
Right?
am, I think I am too.
Yeah, for sure.
And honestly, like the more we discover our unique gifts, the more it becomes easier to understand why it took us so long to find the treasures that we buried. Does that make sense?
Did you bury them if you didn't know what they were?
I
You
mean, they
just
got
hadn't.
buried somehow.
Yeah, 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 for sure. For sure.
um,
Or they just weren't presented to you. Yeah,
yeah,
you had to
like
find them. You had to dig them up yourself.
like you had to find the treasure map,
Yeah.
and and some of us go through those trials, that go on the journey, the hero's quest, whatever you want to call it,
Mm.
and so that's and the importance of naming the Babaylan is that they use their voices
Right.
for to help in healing, and it's not that like I'm not gonna save you. You got to do that yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like whatever is happening, whatever channel, whatever transmission, whatever you want to call it, that's coming through is like when I when I remember that we're all the same. We're all human. We all have life experiences that we traverse. Then the words that are shared become universal.
Sure.
And it's not you versus me, it's us, it's we. It's the literal collective, the collective experience. And so, yeah. And even with that, so there's the lineage that I can trace. And then if we take this concept of lineage and generations and we say, go back 10,000 years, 10,000 generations,
Wow.
20,000 generations, 40,000 generations, then the question is, where do we really come from? You
For
know,
sure.
and so it becomes easier to see nature as one and the same, to see that the creatures of the sea, the creatures of the sky, those that are beyond us and the stars. Like it's easier
Yeah.
to see that connection, that connective thread, that we are far greater than, the human meat suit with the thinky brain, which is great. The thinky brain makes sure that we don't get hit by cars when we're crossing the street, theoretically. But
What's your theory about the soul? What is the soul? Can
mm,
you can you tap into it, or do you just have to allow it out? Tell me what your relationship is with your soul, if you believe it, if that's a thing.
yeah, no, I definitely do. Um,
Do you sing from the soul, or does it, does the
I,
music come out of you
I,
from somewhere that you don't know, or have you learned how to channel that somehow?
I am getting better at it. And a huge part of that is getting out of the way. And so
That's a nice.
we have these three pieces, we have our mind, our body, and our spirit. And and if our heart represents the body, and our belly, and that connective creative space of the breath and the belly, if I have a big boulder in the way, in the shape of thought,
Yeah,
then how am I ever gonna open up the channel to be able to operate from the heart and operate with the essence of the breath? And that's all the voice is, the singing. It's connecting to the breath.
I was sitting on the edge of the waterfall, surrounded by a group of elders. The funny thing is that they didn't seem to be too What I learned in that moment is that we're all shapeshifters, and these elders, they were acting more like children.
have you got any tips for people trying to remember a composition, apart from everybody learns different? We all hear that. That's fine, but give me one example of how you could possibly make it easier to remember a composition.
One thing is, break it down into small pieces. You could call it a lick if you like wanted to use that phrasing.
Yeah,
But if you remember just that part, and then build on top of that, then that's one way you could go about it. Another fun spin on that, one of the great things about having violin as this like precursor was that I like, as soon as I started to play the handpan more, it was like, what did Mrs. Miato teach me? How did she teach me these different ways that she would, like, oh, okay, there's a pattern that I'm having a hard time like approaching. Okay, we would take that section of the song and I would play it completely different.
right.
And so, different pacing, different whatever, so that my fingers could rebuild the muscle memory for it. And then after getting out of my head and playing it in that different way, it made the approach easier. It made it much easier. So kind of, that could just be a fun exploration just in general. but breaking it down into smaller pieces, and you know, is it about the composition? Is it really the composition that's the most important thing, or is it the essence of it?
Yeah.
And so if you're able to remember, like, okay, if there's 6 smaller parts within it, it's going to start slow, it builds up pace, there's a loud
Yeah.
part, it goes quiet, and then it ends medium. If you remember that essence, then it may not be the same exact thing that you did that one time, but it still kind of holds the shape of it. And in ways, your question, honestly, I was just playing something back that I had played when I was in this channeled space, and I'm like, man, at least I got the video, so I can like go back, slow it
Right. Yeah.
down, try to
Yeah.
recreate it, and then
Uh-huh.
do I want to do that? Maybe one day.
Amy Naylor's introduced me to a book called The Music Lesson by a very famous American bass guitar player. I can't remember his name.
Victor Wooten. It's a
Yeah.
wonderful book.
Yeah, I'm listening to it on Spotify as an audiobook. And he basically says, or his guru, whoever he is, says it's the groove. The notes can be wrong. Don't worry about playing the right notes. As long as you've got the right groove,
Yeah.
that's what people remember. That's what people dance to. So as long as you keep that, and it's probably not the right word. Maybe it is the right word in the handpan world, but it relates, doesn't it? You
Yeah.
keep that flow, you keep that feeling. If you play the old wrong note, as long as you have the same feeling all the way through it. And I did a composition a little while ago and just remembered that, and it came out fine. I did a couple of mistakes. The problem I've got, Sarah, is verbally saying it out loud when I made a mistake. What was that?
Yeah.
Well, what?
Well,
I struggle to keep my mouth shut when I make a mistake, I think.
well, and isn't that a practice, man? Because
Yeah.
the number of times, and that's the thing, is like, only based on how
Yeah.
you've played when it's been perfect. And so like reconstituting that notion of like, what is perfection in the moment? Perfection, because sometimes perfection in the moment is getting on the scary stage and playing. Sometimes that's
Yeah.
the perfection of being able to like take the extra breath before you start, and when you're done, realizing you were a little bit less nervous.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Yeah, and the only reason why people know is because you scoff or you make a face,
I
or
know. Yeah.
and
That's what Amy said. She
yeah,
said we wouldn't have known. You don't say anything.
yeah,
Let's flip that on its head, because one thing I hear over and over again from beginner handpan players, and I still treat myself as a beginner handpan player. I've been playing for 2 years, but I focus my attentions on one way, and that's improvisation and playing and freestyling a lot. And a lot of people are convinced that they can't freestyle, they cannot improvise. What's your opinions about that? Can you teach improvisation, or do you think people don't give themselves enough of a chance to?
I definitely feel like people don't give themselves enough of a chance.
Yeah.
Some people still hold that thing that someone said when they were 3 or 7 or 10. You can't, you can't, you can't, you can't. And the number of people who, like, how many first touch people have you introduced the instrument to? Oh, I can't, I'm not musical. And sometimes those people have a better touch than someone who's like, oh my God, I'm so excited to play. I've YouTubed everyone and I love it and I'm seeing it for the first time. And the person who knows nothing, like,
Yeah.
and so it really just goes back to one note. Like for me, start with one note. And if that means that you're improvising on just the ding because there's like a rhythm that you're feeling, that's improvisation. Like even if you're doing a steady 1 count, like I would still say that depending on where you have come from personally with your journey with music, that is a huge step, because it's the willingness. And that's one thing that's so beautiful about this instrument, is that because it's tuned to, like, all the notes on the instrument sound good with one another, the fear of failure doesn't have room, because the notes sound good together. You don't have to find the fret. You don't, or in the case of a violin, you don't have to have muscle memory for where your finger goes. You just have to, we don't have to do anything. We get to discover our touch. And that is, so one thing I would encourage people to do is actually remove one of your senses. And if that's closing your eyes, maybe that's putting a hand behind your back. Maybe it's putting your dominant hand behind your back and using your non-dominant hand, because in these moments, okay, we already feel like we're going to fail. Well, great. Now what do you have to lose? You don't have anything to lose. Go play. The handpan gives us more access to our imagination. It gives us more access to curiosity, specifically because it immediately, based on its shape, based on how the notes are structured, it immediately decreases fear. And so once you discover your touch, you don't like the sky's the limit, you know? What note are you enjoying the most? All right, just hit that a whole bunch. And then as you're beginning to integrate different notes, just explore a 2-note to see which you want your next note to be. Because like, you know, it really only takes one note of curiosity, one note of intrigue to really like, I mean, because we have so many choices in this world. You can go on Amazon and get a million things. You can go to Starbucks and you can get a million things and all these different choices. Oh, like just start with one. And as you add more notes, a pattern will begin. And the initial inclination is, oh, okay, I got that. Now I can move on to the next thing. Na. And maybe this is part of the memory as well, is embodying. If I am embodying the notes and really feeling them in my body, then I'm deepening that connection. And if I'm deepening the connection, then it is literally enhancing my ability to remember it.
You come up with this amazing workshops that you do. Reclaim Life. Tell me about Reclaim Life and what they mean, and what sort of things do you get up to there?
Yeah. So first off, it's a work in progress. I'm going to say that. I'm going to say that. I mean, Reclaim Life, that's exactly what we're doing. So through different types of voice-based workshops, handpan, music embodiment, gathering spaces, giving people opportunities to connect inward through those different channels. It was actually in 2016, or maybe like end of 2015. I was sitting at the dinner table with my partner at the time and one of our friends, and just so matter of fact, like someone was saying something, and they said in the sentence that they were saying, it included reclaim and life, but I don't even know if it was next to each other. But just in that moment, I was like, reclaim life.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing here. I don't know what we're doing, but it includes that. Yeah. I did. And yeah, that essence is in everything.
I want to know a little bit more about certain things that you offer at Reclaim Life. Mm-hmm. I'm reading here sound meditation and laughter yoga. I've seen you do some brilliant little videos online on Instagram. You do some great stuff, don't you? Some like different types of laughs and all that sort of stuff.
Bliss. Yeah. So says the sun. It's shining right behind me, always with me. Oh my gosh. Try it sometime. Laughing. Oh. You don't even have to do it seriously. Just like, think of a Muppet. And then just laugh like that Muppet. Or, I don't know, someone's fabulous laugh. Or maybe your parents laugh when they're really, really enjoying a moment, a joke or something. What else? A little giggle. A little giggle, because little giggles are fun too.
The concept of laughter yoga is that, we're stuck up here in our brain so much. And so, like, number one, how do we get out of that? Well, if someone else is guiding exercises, and we're practicing making eye contact with other people, and we're moving around this space, then we're helping move this stagnant energy of sorts. And with laughter, it is technically a form of breath work if you really want to boil it down. And it's all exhalation. I mean, you can try to laugh inside. You can try to laugh. Sorry, you can try to laugh while inhaling, but it's going to be really difficult, as you just witnessed.
I'll send you a video afterwards of a really famous comedian from the UK who does exactly that, and he's very famous for it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sounds great. It has to be good for you to laugh and to let go of that energy. And
yeah,
maybe, do you think that's what it is then? It's the release of breath, and it's
you're literally like if I'm used to shallow breaths and I'm not paying attention to how I breathe in general, then
right.
I'm never going to be able to clean out the system, clean out the pipes, if you will. And so that stale energy, however you want to see it, like, you got staleness inside.
Right.
In the nicest way possible. And so it helps engage imagination and curiosity and all those things that we've been talking about. And because it's a different form, laughter, silliness, et cetera, then handpan music, then playing an instrument, they really parallel each other nicely, because you're opening up to play. You're opening up to improvisation, to being silly and not being stuffed in a box, so that when you practice your handpan, you can do so and not be stuck in a box and be a little more playful. And if that means you make little horse hands and you frolic along, then do that. I've been in my beginner workshops, sometimes I'm like, okay, spaghetti hands. Like, this is relaxed. We want our hands to be relaxed, like spaghetti. And anyway, spaghetti.
I love it. And completely the other side of that coin is meditation. Sound meditation. So we need to relax, and we need to be, we need to allow this sort of energy and this stuff out of us, but we also need to sort of find that calmness as well. So tell me about sound meditation from your point of view. How does it work, and how do you share that? How do you get people to do that?
Well, I usually play the handpan, and I definitely use my voice. And nice. Sound meditations, people call them sound journeys, sound baths, sound. So, a lot of different verbiage for how people
the same sort of thing.
Exactly. And, in a similar but very different way. Again, we have a hard time relaxing. We have a hard time giving ourselves permission to pause. And so, inviting people into spaces where, where we can invite them into resting a bit more and back into the parasympathetic space.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's parasympathetic. You can edit that part out if it's not right. If someone's used to their version of relaxing, and not that there's a right or wrong, we're just, we're all in the different parts of our journeys.
Of course.
And a sound practitioner is operating in a different space. So they have the ability to take someone who's, just showing a scale, so to speak, who's here, and being able to help drop them into more of like a theta space where they get
Yeah.
deeper rest, because it's theta space. It's that space of detachment where, even if you do have thoughts going by, you're able to let them go a little bit more easily in that sound healing space. So like, sometimes people's sound meditations, their sound baths can be loud, but maybe that's an element of the space that they're traversing. On one hand, you're introducing people to a lot of different sounds that in general are pleasant to hear. And
Yeah.
at the same time, not everything is going to be pleasant to everyone. So part of the deeper invitation of a sound journey is like sitting with the awareness of your body, the awareness of your breath, the awareness of your mind, so that if you do meet a crunchy moment where you feel tension in your body for some reason, that you're able to sit with it and move through it by staying connected to your breath. If you go from, okay, I'm having a really great time, I'm in my deep breath, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden you hear something and now you're like, oh my God, I'm tense. That's
Yeah.
okay. Can we recognize that we're tense, and can we relax again? Because that, and so that's a huge, like for me, providing that safe space for people. And sometimes people cry, sometimes people fall
Yeah.
asleep, and
Yeah.
whatever someone needs is hopefully what they're
For sure.
receiving. And on the flip side, uh, if it is ever too much, as somebody who is choosing to be in that space, the reminder that we can also choose to leave, and it's okay.
When you're playing for people, everybody's laying around on their little mats and they've got their eye masks on and stuff. How does Sarah Paz Hyde get into the zone before she starts to play?
I enjoy activating the rain stick. I enjoy, using more elemental sounds on the handpan before approaching with the straight melody, because like
Nice.
I'm really, and me personally, I like these smooth transitions. And
Yeah.
so going like from cold silence or something like that doesn't, and then at some point the rain stick just fades out. And then that the melodic quality of the handpan or whatever is being
Yeah.
played can then become this focus. It's like a natural transition. And it just kind of depends. Like I had to give myself, going back to the word permission, but I had to give myself a lot of permission to not only use my voice, but
Yeah.
integrate words, because, we don't want to put people back in their heads by
Okay.
by
Yeah.
hearing words or thinking about words and what does it
Yeah.
mean. And for me, at the end of the day, like if the voice is the main catalyst, then am I gonna sing words the whole time? No, of course not. But I don't shy away from it as much anymore.
The lady that I quite like
Hmm.
the phrase toning as
Mm,
opposed to singing,
yeah.
literally making that sound with your voice
Yep.
that will go with that instrument. A lady that I know plays the monochord, which is
Yep.
literally just one
Yeah.
sound, one note.
Yep.
She tones different notes up and down, and however it feels like.
Hmm.
And somebody who's getting quite well known is Chantra Seba.
Oh yeah. 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 Yeah.
Wow.
Hmm.
I mean, talk about being. Every time I hear her sing, it just puts me into like a relaxed state, literally straight away.
Well, and the thing is
Amazing.
she actually singing words? And to your point, vocal toning, and
Yeah.
and to me, that's one reason why the voice is such a powerful tool, especially in these settings where people are going to get the extra nourishment of a rest and a recharge and whatnot, because like all it is an exhale with sound. And so even if it's a subconscious connection and awareness, if I am stretching the sounds, the toning, and people are are mirroring that in their own breath, then you're helping them also slow down even more so, even if it's subconscious.
Right.
And yeah, so toning, I mean, I'll tone into a frame drum. I'll tone, yeah, I mean,
Wow.
toning for
I'd love to
days.
hear that. Yeah.
It's special. I mean, like, it doesn't work with all frame drums, but it's a special thing. And I encourage you to do that. So as well.
Do you play your frame drum with your fingers, or do you have a mallet or a beater,
Like
or
I
whatever?
just have a beater. Like
Right.
I know at some point in the future I'll do more percussive things with it, but
It's more
organizing,
like a heartbeat sort of sound or a tribal sort of sound,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, and I mean sometimes the it does go faster, and sometimes it's like the texture of hands wishing over the surface. So hands or fingertips. So facilitating sound journeys has been really helpful for getting more comfort, being more comfortable in doing, being in a performance space, and in ways it's actually helping to inform my approach. Because we're all different, what we do on stage, but at the same time, like how is the sound meditation of Marlowe or the sound meditation of Amy Naylor or Cabezao or Demo Queen. I mean, it's it it's kind of the same thing. It just has a different wrapping, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Marloy. Wow. I personally think she's the best player in the world.
Wow, nice.
I think she is.
She's pretty amazing.
She's my favourite player in the world. How about that?
Nice, nice.
That's the right thing to say, isn't it? Yeah, going right back to the beginning, I probably will leave this out as well. But you'd say, oh, most people in the handpan world are men. Have you ever watched any of my Handpan Voices episode? You would think they were women because I mostly interview women. I think I've only interviewed like one man so far.
So part of my like part of my why I started to organize gatherings is, well, one, needing to reframe my relationship with women and how pains were given to me growing up. Like
Okay.
relationships with women were not necessarily verbalized as being safe, because of pain, because of pain projections. And so even having friends growing up were sometimes difficult. It was sometimes difficult. And so you know, when the first women's handpan gathering happened in the UK in 2018, I knew I needed to be there. I didn't know why. I
Yeah.
didn't know how I was going to get there. I didn't know any of that stuff. I just knew I needed to be there and that it was really important. And so I was getting a lot of these different experiences going to different festivals and gatherings. And part of that was very much the catalyst of knowing that I needed safer spaces, like and in a space, and having ingested information from hearing of other people's stories. Oh, I've been going to gatherings for however long, and imagine there only being like 10% women there, or this or that, and hearing over and over that there's a need for more women players, while also simultaneously being in my own experience and realizing that if more players of any genre, of any type of humanity are to exist, then we have to give ourselves that space to exist, which in some cases becomes easier or more difficult depending on a lot of things.
So the other thing I wanted to add, yeah, so all of these experiences that I was having from attending gatherings, saying yes to the handpan, and discovering my purpose in many ways, and not necessarily fully discovering my purpose, but really giving myself space to lean in, to who I thought I could be, and who I am now becoming more. So part of that was, yes, going to gatherings, meeting more people within the handpan community, finding this need for space, for for women, for healing, creating superbloom, co-creating it as a gathering, and then taking that a step further and wanting to create more opportunities for people for people to gather by creating another gathering. So last year, along with one of my Handpan sisters who I met at Superbloom, along with Addie and a fellow Midwesterner, Maxwell, we created Heartland Hangout. So now I am co-creator, co-curator of two handpan gatherings, which is as wonderful as it is, expansive and all that stuff about, growing community and co-creating, and is as dynamic as learning the instrument can be, taking that energy and that synergy, that spirit, and now opening to doing that with others. So anyway, that felt really important, because evolution, how we evolve, how we lean into space, how we grow, each step we take really does open up new doors. So, if that notion of, how we play music in our sanctuary, in our handpan sanctuary, we, in order to grow the stage, we literally have to grow our comfort zone. And so what might first start as, saying yes to purchasing an instrument, might then become saying yes to a gathering, or going from playing music in the bedroom with the doors closed, to opening the door and letting people hear you, becomes a step for going to a park and playing underneath a tree. And maybe at first it's too nerve-wracking to have anyone listen to you, so you face the tree and you don't have to see anybody. Then all of a sudden, after time, cultivating that inner garden, that sanctuary space, all of a sudden playing and sitting on a park bench as people are walking by, becomes palatable, becomes manageable, becomes fun, becomes engaging, becomes less nerve-wracking. There's less fear associated. And then that can segue to taking the handpan and sharing it in senior centers, or whatever that looks like, or maybe playing at a yoga event or something like that, or for a friend's class. So there's so many ways that we can engage life, engage other humans, people who've never heard this instrument before, or maybe they've only seen it on the internet, but they've never actually seen it in person. So to me, that's what this instrument gives us, the ability to grow in new ways. And for me, it's been growing two handpan gatherings and leaning into my own voice musically, and really coming home into that space. So I hope that that's what this instrument is giving you as well, / I know that this is what this instrument is giving us all. So much love.
I am fascinated by women. I understand, and I appreciate and respect women so much. I hold you all in very high regard, and so I like to champion women, and I love to champion women getting together and learning off each other. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to tell you that, and I understand it's probably be easier to talk to a woman about Superbloom, but I would love it if you could sort of tell me a little bit more about the things that you do at Superbloom, and what sort of things do the ladies get from it? What do they say when they leave?
For me, one of the most beautiful aspects of Superbloom is intergenerational conversation.
Right.
Like, we can simply be. We don't have pressures of family. We don't have pressures of work, of whatever the underlying responsibilities are, being caretakers, et cetera, et cetera. We can simply be. and remembering what that feeling is like,
Yeah.
while being surrounded by other people who also love this instrument as much as we do, and connecting to our natural rhythms. It's at a place called Peace Temple. I mean, the name in itself, like, getting there is like a pilgrimage, because it's in a tucked away spot. You know what I mean? And so there is a pond where we can just do pond plunges and swim. I mean, one of the best things is that you can kind of choose your own adventure. Like, once you get there, if you want to do all the programming, great, do whatever you want. If you just want to take a long nap the whole time and just go to meals, you should do that, and everything's going to be fine. But just to be around, like, other women, and begin to reframe, those relationships, because I know I'm not the only person who has had aspects of fractured feminine, be it with relationships or this or that. So,
Right.
and we have an open mic. We don't have, like, last year we did, so that was really cool. Like, it, we don't have 50 different performers, and all the beautiful busyness of a big gathering. We have an open mic night where everybody plays it. Like, if you sign up, everybody plays a song, and just and you
Yeah.
don't have to play a handpan. Like, you can, one woman last year, um, she wanted to play so badly, and but she was in this moment, she was so tied to having to play her handpan, but she had just gotten it earlier that year. and
Yeah.
and then we saw someone go up and play a ukulele, and as she's telling me, oh, no, 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 I can't, I can just cross my name off. I said, I know you play the flute too. Would you? And you feel way more comfortable playing the flute. Do you want to play that one instead? And she was like, yeah, I'll be right back. And
Nice.
so, like, there are these moments of being able to just be, and there's something about that you can't quantify. I don't know how to quantify it. Yeah.
I think you got the word that I was struggling with earlier, and that was so many. You have so many responsibilities that you don't feel, or you don't really get the chance to get to relinquish, to let go of, for all different types of women. And I think, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a responsibility. Like, I live with my wife, we live with her elderly father and mother
Mm-hmm.
in the same house. So we have a responsibility of looking after them as well as everything else. So there's a lot of responsibilities in lots of women's shoulders. So yeah, it's an amazing thing you do, and it's an incredible thing. Everybody I hear that goes to it truly appreciate you, Sarah, for sure. Uh,
Well, to
now,
be fair, there's a team of co-organizers, myself
yeah,
included. It does take a village. um, Marina and Holly are amazing, and I'm,
yeah,
to get to grow with them. And that's the thing about community building. Some of that fine print, like, oh, I want to organize a handpan gathering. Well, we don't see the fine print until we're, like, knee deep in the trenches, so to speak. And
right,
some of that fine print is growing, growing, and when we're at our best, when we're not at our best, and to be able to hold that space as sacred space as well, is man, yeah. There's just as much beauty in the organizational side of things as well. So,
can you tell me anything about this year's event that you're looking forward to personally, or as a person that's coming, or a
um,
thing that you're doing, or
uh, I mean, just to be in our fourth year. So technically, in 2020, I was living in the desert at the time, in that very tiny micro community that I discovered the handpan in the first place. and
yeah,
and after the women's gathering in 2018, I was like, man, I got to organize a women's handpan gathering. And I had I'd never organized anything before, not to like that degree. And I have had like all these grand ideas and da da da. And Amy was going to be there, and and you can get massage, and this woman's going
Yeah.
to be a taiko drummer, and she's going to teach us taiko, and like it was very grand in my mind. And then 2020 happened, and
COVID.
yeah, and
Yeah.
to be honest, it was a large vision that was ungrounded.
Right.
So yeah, much like its namesake, it lay dormant until 2021, when I moved to the East Coast and reconnected with a woman who I had met from Virginia at the first women's handpan gathering.
Right.
So Kelly, myself, and Marina, they had also met, and so there was this beautiful synergy that was happening. And much like the namesake, the conditions were waiting for the weather to be just right and the clearing
Yeah.
to be just right. And we had met Amy at the women's handpan gathering as well. And so to be able to, reconnect these three sisters, so to speak, was yeah. So just to be in our fourth live action cycle is amazing.
Tell me about Amy Naylor. How
Oh
do you feel about
man,
Amy, and what can you tell me about your relationship with Amy?
I just freaking love her. I mean, oh, she has encouraged me in ways that I can't even like describe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like when she came here, first off, at, in 2018, we were all in our own like flows at the women's gathering, but I chose to go to. That year, I went to 3 back-to-back gatherings. I went to Steel Mountain in Colorado. The following weekend, I was at the women's gathering, and then the weekend after that, I was at Hangout UK. And it was the first time that I was traveling internationally by myself, which
Wow. Yeah.
which was like a big deal for me at the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
and it was this moment of, okay, I have just enough of my timeline sorted out. And okay, you believe in divine timing and flow and, reading the signs. Okay, here you
Yeah.
go. You know just enough, and you don't
Yeah.
know just enough. And to get to spend a little bit more time with her in that space at both of those gatherings,
Yeah.
was such like, just to have that as a foundation, and then to stay connected. And hey, like I said, she was going to be at the 2020 superbloom, and to stay connected in that thread, and then to stay connected in this thread. And and like some of the things like from your guys' interview,
Oh
I
yeah.
had no idea of some of that stuff that she said, about like, you know, traveling the States and just like that side of the story that she shared. And for me, like, again, having people who you feel a bond with and you can't explain it, it's just there and everything just feels so natural. You know, that idea of soul family. And it doesn't matter if we live right next door or we're very much across the pond. But to be able to be in that adventure space and that trust fall, and just she's so light, and she's so just has such a lovely heart. And you know, her encouraging me to sing, her inviting me to enter that space when, you know, I'm figuring it out,
Right.
and just hoping that, do they know that I'm faking it, that I don't know what I'm doing, like it was just, yeah.
Wow. It's never come across like that. I've always thought that the way that she talks about you and how you are with each other, it's the other way around, as if like you inspire her, and I think that you do truly inspire her. So you should give yourself a bit more credit, I think, Sarah, for sure.
Okay.
You definitely inspire our Amy, which who I'm now becoming friends with. It's quite lovely as well. Yeah, you're absolutely right in everything you say. I don't have the connection that you have, but yeah, I'm going to be at Hangout UK this year. I went last year as well,
Yeah,
and she is performing at Hangout this year
it's gonna be so
for
good.
sure.
So good.
And we want you to come over to Old Blighty. Come over the pond once again at some point to see
Oh,
us.
I will, and it'll be, yeah. When I get that album, like
Oh,
you,
right. We're going to wait for the album.
no, no, no,
Okay.
no, no. But if it coincided, it would make it very, you know, just add those layers.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And if you were going to bring one handpan with you over to the UK, which one would it be and why?
Right now, it would be the E Curd because it has 19 notes and it gives me the most access, which is really fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and that's
Who made that?
it's a Tacta handpan by Rafi in Brazil. So
Oh, wow.
yeah,
How do you get hold of a Brazilian handpan apart from going to Brazil? Are they sold in
of
America
course.
or is it just,
They, you
yeah?
know, they have this thing called the internet.
Do they? The internet? What the bloody
Yeah.
hell's that?
No, okay, so my first gathering was Steel Mountain in 2017, I think. And I think it was the gathering's first year. And and I forgot. I had forgotten this information, but Rafi was my roommate. We were roommates at Steel Mountain that year.
Oh, right.
And yeah, we've just stayed friends, and we did a
Great.
lot of road tripping last year in the States, which was a lot of fun. He came to Heartland Hangout, and then we came back to my place. We hung out. He did some retunes. He met some people, and then we drove down
Cool.
to Florida with Mumi, actually, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've stayed friends, and you know, he sees what I'm doing and building community in the States, and yeah, not good.
You're doing incredible
Thanks,
things for sure.
thanks, man.
For the handpan community around the world, you're inspiring lots of people, but particularly for the Americans. And it's been so lovely to talk to you
Yeah,
on Handpan Voices, Sarah. Thank you so much
yeah,
for agreeing to do this with
of
me.
course. My pleasure. Thanks for the invitation.